Hello, I hope you're having a great day. This is kind of a sporadic video that, it's a sporadic idea that I had. And I'm basically just going to show you my process of setting up the Dutch stores for my upcoming London trip. This all started when I did this like cutout for my Chicago trip. The idea is that there's this constant header up top for the entirety of the trip, and then each day of the trip we have the little flaps. And this one, I think it turned out really cute. I just overall don't really enjoy working with a square layout like this. And also this was a little bit difficult because you actually have to rip out part of the pages from the threaded stitches, if that makes any sense. But because I overall really enjoyed this look for my Los Angeles trip, I decided to do another Dutch store style, but this time I just simply cut off the end, and now we have this like slimmer sort of page, and I feel like it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and it was easier to cut. So for my trip to London, it's going to be very similar to my Los Angeles one, but I'm going to make a few changes and I will talk about that. For this trip, I'm leaving on the 22nd and then I am landing back in Vancouver on the 28th. So what I'm going to do is trim off these 3 pages. So one thing that I didn't really enjoy about my Los Angeles pages is that these 2 columns aren't equal. The problem actually isn't the fact that they're unequal, but rather they're so close to being equal, but they're not. And there just isn't that contrast. Whereas with the regular pages, it's very obvious that this one is slimmer than this one. So what I'm gonna do is actually trim down the pages a little bit more so that the columns are actually equal. And then of course the header is gonna be a little bit wider, but I have another idea for that and how to utilize that space. Oh no. So I think my Hobonichi might be crooked. Alright, that's okay. So if you aren't a lazy bum like me, you should probably cut it one by one and not all of them in a stack to prevent the further pages to be so crooked. So this is optional, but I prefer the rounded corner look, and I have this corner rounder from Amazon. So on the back side, the dates are cut off, so we have to find another way of adding the dates, and I'm going to use these sticky notes. And these are releasing in the London pop-up, or at the London pop-up, but I'll put them up on the site at some point. For the LA one, I just used some craft paper, and then for Chicago, I think I just used little stickers like this. So I'm going to start with the 22nd, and I'm not going to cover this part up, and you will see why in a second. And I think I will scatter things a little bit. So starting with white, then I'll do the next one, the blue. Gonna skip all of that and jump to the red. Ooh, maybe this one I can use a white gel pen. Let's see if this works. Okay, hello, this is me doing the voiceover at like 2 in the morning, so if I sound different, that is why. I just wanted to quickly say I didn't intend to use the UK flag colors for this week, but I guess as soon as I brought out the sticky notes, I kind of just naturally formed everything around red, white, and blue. I like how these turned out. They look very wonky, but I intend for them to look wonky so that if I make a mistake, you can't really tell. So these are sticky notes, but the bottom part isn't sticky, so I'm just gonna apply some adhesive just to actually secure them. I just want to make sure that it doesn't peek out. Is that okay? Okay, I think so far so good. 23, 24, wait, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any numbers. For the next part, this is going to be bringing in what I did for my weekly spread this week. I know I'm not the person to come up with, cutting up magazines. But anyways, I haven't checked my mailbox in like 3 weeks, which I know is a very bad habit. I had a huge stack of flyers, so I had this idea of using it for my spread. And this is what I'm going to do for this week as well. So I have a lot of flyers, even more on the floor, but I'm just gonna use whatever I have. Right off the bat, I am very lucky in my province. I don't know if they're in other provinces, but we have a drugstore called London Drugs. So I can literally just cut out the word London and use it here. So the idea is that I'm gonna do my trip to, and then London over here. So I'm going to try to find a bigger version of the logo. I do have to be careful, my address is not anywhere here. All right, I'm going to first roughly cut this out. Hello, it's me again at 2 in the morning. So yeah, here I am just arranging all of the things that I cut out. As I said earlier, I didn't intend to use the UK flag colors, but then it just naturally came together, and as you can see, a lot of my letter clippings are either like the bright blue, red, white, or black. Also, I was having a lot of trouble finding red letters, so I felt like my letters were disproportionately blue and it just looked a little bit unbalanced. So what I ended up doing was taking some like solid bits of red from the flyers and I ripped some of it up, I cut some of it up, and I did a little bit of layering so that every bit of the spread has some bright red, and I think it gave it a really cool scrapbooky look. The reason I actually started doing this sort of Dutch store style for my travel journaling is because when I'm traveling, at least in recent years, it's mostly for quote-unquote work. I don't know if you can call what I do work, but like for the past several trips that I've been on, it's always just like surrounding an event that I have to attend, and then I might have plus 1 or 2 days of leisure time. So because of that, I just don't have as much time in the day to sit down and journal. And also, when you're on a trip, I would imagine it's more worth it to do things to journal about later rather than spend your time on a trip journaling. So yeah, I basically just wanted to cut down on the amount of space that I had to fill. So I'm pretty pleased with how the sidebar turned out. And this is actually not all. Later on, I'm gonna write down my flight information. So from Vancouver to London, and then over here, I'm gonna write down my return flight information. I'm not gonna write it down now just because privacy. I think the other main thing that I wanna do is the days of the week headers, which I was gonna originally do the same thing with the cutouts, but I think it might clash a bit too much because we have, all of these like bright colors, and then over here, same thing. At the same time, we have the pre-printed days of the week, so it kind of leaves me with no choice but to go on with my original plan. Okay, maybe I will letter in some of them and then do cutouts for some others. Okay, for the third time, this is me at 2 in the morning. So At this point, I really didn't have a plan for what to do. Basically, my vision for how this was gonna look was already off course by this point. So I was just doing random stuff. I lettered some of the days of the week. For some of them, I cut up the magazine letters, and I think later on for a few of the days I even mixed my own hand lettering with the magazine cutouts, so it was a whole mess. Oh, and if you want to try this concept but maybe you don't have a trip planned, you can also use this for any other busier week. For example, maybe it's exam season and you just don't have time to fill out an entire page in your journal. Then you can do like a dedicated finals week spread, you know? Okay, I think I'm done. I might add some more sparkles later on the other pages, and a few other elements. And as I said earlier, I'm gonna put my flight information on the sidebar. But otherwise, I think these pages are ready to be filled. I also stained this part a little bit, but we will cover that up. Also, I forgot to do Wednesday. Okay, you know what? I will do that later. I spent way too much time on this, so I hope you were able to get some inspiration from this video, and I will definitely update you all when it's hopefully all filled out like this. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Bye.